Hey folks, James Paul here, President of the Edmonton Local. It's a beautiful day here on January 9th of 2026. So I'm going to try and start talking about the contract offer as far as I can see it. Not all the information is coming out. The language is not out, so it's going to be a slow process. And they may be corrected from time to time, so just bear with me on this. I'm going to tackle what I thought was the simple subject of the wages, but it's a little more complicated than what it appears to be. So, wages for both groups on the hourly basis, it's complicated, we'll get to that in a minute, well, in another video, is in year one will be going up 6.5%, year two will be going up 3%, and then year 3, 4, and 5 will be indexed to the CPI. This year, or year 3, will be at 2%, and that's based off of the CPI, and that is the same thing that Canada Post offered. So, in the first 3 years of the contract, we are actually up 0.5% because we're going to 6.5% for the first year. We're tied with their previous offer of 3% for the second year, and we're tied for the third year at 2%. The fourth and fifth year are indexed to CPI. So right now, you're not getting screwed, and I don't think you will. So that's the simple way of looking at it. We have received the 5% of the first year, so there would be 1.5 paid retroactively to the year one of this contract. This contract will be 5 years, expiring January 2029. So we're 2 years in. So there would be 3 years left in the contract rather than the regular 2. That's important stuff. So, that's what they're offering. If you want more details, stick around because I got some. All right, so CPI, what is it? It's Consumer Price Index. Basically, every year the government has a basket of goods that they keep kind of secret from us, and they take those prices and they evaluate how much it costs more to live this year than last year. It's actually done on a monthly basis. But simplistically, it's how much more does it cost to live this year than last year? So for the year 3 of our index, it was listed as 2%. So on average, it costs you 2% more to live this year than last year. So how do we get here? Well, I'll put up a chart, and basically you'll see the last, I think it's 10 years of the CPI. And you can generally see that it hovers around 2%, and there's a big bump around 2023, and that's COVID. And that went as high as 8%, and we're back down to about 2.5%, 3% annually on average. Okay. So historically, the CPI is usually around 2%. So presumably going forward, we'll be getting at least 2%. But it's based on a calculation. What this protects us from in the future is what happened during COVID, where it went up to 8%, and we got a 2% raise that year. Now, we used to have COLA, and this kind of replaces COLA, although COLA is staying in our contract. It's just suspended while we figure this out. So COLA would kick in if the CPI had gone up over 5.65%, I think it was, over the course of the agreement. So we would have got our raise, and then generally what ends up happening is we never see any COLA payments. In the contract offer that Canada Post last did, they were happy to continue with COLA, but they wanted to raise that minimum level to 7.6%. So it would be even harder for us to get COLA. And one of the downfalls of COLA is that it just provides us with a paycheck. It doesn't actually boost our wages, and it's not pensionable. It doesn't affect your overtime, all those different things. So COLA is an okay system, but one of the things we wanted to see out of COLA was it affecting our wages going forward, because if inflation next year is 12%, sure, you'd get a 6% bump in your pay once, but you wouldn't get that 12% overall. And if it is 12% next year, our pay will increase by that amount. It's possible we could go lower, but if the cost of everything is going down, that's not such a big deal. However, in the long run, I would have liked to have seen CPI plus 0.5% or plus 1%, so that we can make up for the years and also deal with the variable things about the economy. So the CPI index will be run from October to September. So a 12-month period, and then will be adjusted for our wage increases, presumably in January. The chart that I'm showing you now is basically how it's calculated. The number you want to look at is the number on the far right, and those are the increases every month. Now, this is not a percentage. The value on the left is a dollar value. In 2000, it started as $1 or 100 cents. So in 2025, it costs 65 more cents per dollar more to live. But that means that the increases that you see here aren't exactly accurate. So you add up all of the numbers on the right and then divide it by 12. And then you get your CPI increase. And that works out to 2%. That's the average of those things. And that's how it's calculated. Now for the real nerds here, we've got this chart here, which is the chart of all different items that are included in the CPI. The picture I'm showing you is only a small amount of it because there's an extensive list of items, and I'll go over those. But in the top item, it says all items have gone from October 2024 of $1.61.8 to $1.64.9, which represents an increase of 1.88% overall for the cost increases for those items. The next one underneath is food, and this one's important. So it's gone from 190.5 to 197.5, and that represents a 3.55% increase. So food has gone up more than average items have. Shelter, underneath, has gone from $1.84.8 to $1.88.2, which means that it has gone up 1.8%. So you can see how these things all work out. But I think the key items are food, shelter, household operations, clothing, things that we need to buy, things that are items that everybody needs to buy and we don't have the option of. Now, looking at the first 3 months of the next year, right now we're at 2.27% on average going forward. Things that can affect this globally are obviously supply chain issues. As food becomes more expensive, therefore the interest rate goes up. The other thing is tariffs can affect things because it overall increases prices. The economic state of the world is a significant factor, and we seem to be going into a period of economic instability. So right now, if we were to get next year's wage, it would be 2.27%, or perhaps 2.2 or 2.3% if we're only going by actual 1% decimal places. So 2.3%. Again, I would have preferred to have seen a CPI plus a percentage to make up for the last 20 years of wage suppression by the government and the corporation. But this is a start. I'm not really sure which way to go on this, but I think it's better than what they were offering us. Just not a whole lot better.